It is 12:25 a.m. and the Cunard liner RMS Carpathia is mostly blacked out, her saloons darkened, and her passengers asleep soundly. Harold Coveham, 21, is the ship's lone Marconi wireless operator. He's just about to get ready for bed, but out of habit, before going to sleep, he picks up his headset for one last listen. He's surprised to hear the brand new luxury liner RMS Titanic on her maiden voyage across the Atlantic has fallen silent. So he sits down at his desk to call up the bigger ship's wireless operator. "Good morning, old man," he taps out on the key. "Do you know that there is dispatches for you at Cape Cod?" The response he receives is chilling. "CQD, CQD, SOS, SOS, CQD, SOS. Come at once, we have struck a berg." Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning I'm at East Lee Cemetery and we've come to find the final resting place of Arthur Henry Rostron. Now I'll tell you a little bit more about him real soon. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making a series of little videos on some of the survivors of the Titanic, whether they were crew or civilians. But as I go around the country and I'm aware of people that are buried in certain places or have a memorial plaque or anything like that at all from the Titanic or related to the Titanic, then I will obviously film it and put it together with some of the videos that I'm going to do now. But the gentleman we come to see today was the captain of the RMS Carpathia, which was the ship that rescued 706 survivors from the lifeboats and so forth of the Titanic. So we're actually coming to see the captain, final resting place, who was in charge of getting that ship in and rescuing those survivors that were out in the ocean on that cold, cold night. You all know the story of the Titanic, you don't need me to go through it. So that's the plan. So it'll be something that'll just be gradual, and I'll just throw the Titanic videos in now and again for you. If you like the video today, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got a keen interest in the Titanic or the RMS Carpathia in particular, which incidentally, just to let you know, was sunk in World War I in 1918 by the Germans. So yeah, quite a sad ending to that boat really, after what it did during the Titanic sinking. But you know, I'll tell you a little bit more about the captain and so forth in a moment. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a bean. It doesn't cost you a penny. And of course, hit that notification bell, and I'll get on with it now. I'll tell you a little bit more about Arthur Rostron. So Arthur Henry Rostron, KBE, RD, Royal Navy Reserves, 14th of May 1869 to the 4th of November 1940, was a British merchant seaman and a seagoing officer for the Cunard Line. Arthur Rostron was born at Bank Cottage, Sharples, a suburb of Bolton, Lancashire, England, to James and Nancy Rostron in 1869. He received his education at Bolton Grammar School and Bolton Church Institute. In 1884, Rostron then joined the Merchant Navy Cadet School ship HMS Conway as a cadet. After 2 years of training on the Conway, he was apprenticed to the Waverley line of Messrs Williamson, Milligan and Co. in Liverpool on the iron clipper ship Cedric the Saxon. In 1887, Rostron joined the barque Red Gauntlet as a second mate. Soon after, he left the Waverley line and joined the barque Camp Hill. He was commissioned as a sub-lieutenant in the Royal Navy Reserves, RNR, on the 28th of April 1893. In December 1894, Rostron served on board the steamship Concord, after which he passed his examinations for Extras Master's Certificate. On the 14th of September 1899, Rostron married Ethel Minnie Stohart, the daughter of Richard Stohart in St John the Baptist Church, Atherton. Rostron joined the Cunard Line in January 1895 and earned a position as fourth officer on the RMS ocean liner Umbria. In the years afterward, he would serve on other Cunard ships. As a member of the Royal Navy Reserves, Rostron regularly attended training at HMS Excellent, including September 1902. He temporarily left Cunard to serve with the Royal Navy during a period of international tension occasioned by the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905. He became captain of the passenger liner RMS Carpathia on the 18th of January 1912. By this time, a lieutenant in the Royal Navy Reserves, Rostron was decorated with the Royal Navy Reserve Officers Reserve Decoration, RD, on the 9th of November 1909. He was promoted to commander in the Royal Navy Reserves on the 18th of January 1912. Carpathia was on its regular route between New York City and Austria-Hungary, when early on the 15th of April 1912 she received a distress signal. Rostron immediately ordered the ship to race towards Titanic's reported position, posting extra lookouts to help spot and manoeuvre around the ice he knew to be in the area. Only after ordering Carpathia turned towards the disaster scene did Rostron confirm with Cottam that the latter was sure about Titanic's distress call. It is Monday, April 15th, 1912, 12:58 a.m. It has been nearly 1 hour and 20 minutes since the RMS Titanic struck an iceberg in the middle of the North Atlantic and slowly began to sink. By this time, many ships in the area had already heard the Titanic stress call and are heading towards the Titanic with all possible speed. Now at this point in the time, the ship that has the best chance at reaching the Titanic is the RMS Carpathia. However, at being more than 58 miles away from the Titanic, it would take the Carpathia 4 hours to reach the site at which the Titanic is currently sinking. And by the time the Carpathia arrives, it would be far too late for the Carpathia to reach the Titanic before the ship goes down. About 58 nautical miles, 67 miles, separated Carpathia from Titanic's position. Rostron and his engineering crew, led by Chief Engineer A.B. Jones, skillfully obtained the maximum speed possible of the engines of Carpathia, coaxing her up to 17.5 knots, 3.5 knots faster than her rated speed. Even so, Carpathia, travelling through dangerous ice floes, took about 3.5 hours to reach the Titanic's radio position. During this time, Rostron turned off heating to ensure maximum steam for Carpathia's engines, and the ship prepared for survivors, including getting blankets, food and drinks ready, and ordering his medical crew to stand by to receive the possibly injured. Crewmen were placed in the corridors to reassure passengers alarmed by the increased speed and change direction of the ship. Altogether, 23 orders from Rostron to his crew were successfully implemented before Carpathia had even arrived at the scene of the disaster. Rostron highly praised his crew for their efficiency in his reports to line management. Speaking of the risk taken by running through dense ice at speed at night, he is reported to have said, "I can only conclude another hand than mine was on the helm." When Rostron believed he was nearing the Titanic, he ordered green starburst rockets launched to alert the sinking ship if she was still afloat or her survivors if she was not. Carpathia began picking up survivors about an hour after the first starburst was seen by those in lifeboats. Carpathia would end up rescuing 706 survivors out of the 2,228 passengers and crew on board Titanic. At least one survivor said to have died after reaching the ship. Rostron continued in command of the Carpathia for a year before transferring to Caronia. Rostron and his wife had been visiting their daughter Margaret in Calne when he was taken ill. He developed pneumonia and died at the Cottage Hospital, Chippenham, on the 4th of November 1940, aged 71. His funeral service took place at West End Parish Church, Southampton, on Thursday, 7th of November 1940. He was survived by his wife Ethel, Minnie, and their 4 children. Ethel died on the 7th of July 1943 at the age of 69 and is buried beside him in the graveyard of West End Church. So there we have all the information about Sir Arthur Rostron. And what a man he was, great career, and obviously took his ship in to help all those poor souls on that fateful night. And anyway, I've been having a good look around, and I think I found it. To be fair, it's not really one you can miss in here, because if you look at all the graves, they're all quite grey and dreary. And you look at this This one's been kept really well. So let's come up and have a look. Someone's been having their lunch here as well by the looks of it. Look at messy people. Right. Okay. Oh. In loving memory of my dear husband, Sir Arthur Henry Rostron, KBE RD RNR, died November the 4th, 1940, aged 71 years. Also of Ethel Minnie, the beloved wife of the above, died the 7th of July the 7th, 1943, aged 69 years. Sir Arthur Rostron, captain of the RMS Carpathia, saved 706 souls from SS Titanic, 15th of April 1912. So here we have the final resting place of Sir Arthur Henry Rostron and his late wife, of course. Thank you, Sir Arthur, for your service, and thank you for helping to rescue 706 people that night, which must have been one of the most terrifying nights ever for those poor souls that not only survived, but the ones that lost their lives as well. You know, you can't think of anything worse than being out in the middle of the Atlantic on a massive piece of metal, basically, and it's sinking. So thank you. So there we have it, final resting place, Sir Arthur Henry Rostron. You know, him and his crew, of course, we've got to thank the crew as well that night. And obviously afterwards, his amazing career that he had. You know, none of us can ever imagine what it would have been like to have been in the North Atlantic that evening, can we? And yeah. Anyway, if you've got any thing to say, any comments at all, please write them down below. If you like the video today, please give it a little thumbs up. And yeah, and I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for watching as always.